Now, the rest of the story. By an act of Congress, each and every coin minted in the United States must bear this motto, "In God We Trust." Old-fashioned? No, as a matter of fact, for the congressional act which makes that motto mandatory was approved July 11, 1955. 34 years ago today. What's old-fashioned is what "In God We Trust" replaced. But then if you recalled our former motto, you would know the rest of the story. Today, "In God We Trust" is celebrating the 34th anniversary as the mandatory motto on all U.S. coins, but it took 94 years for that to happen. 94 years for Mark Watkinson's dream to come true, the Reverend Mark R. Watkinson. He was born on a New Jersey farm October 24 in 1824, liberally educated, ordained as a minister, a Baptist preacher at the age of 27. The Civil War weighed heavily on the Reverend Watkinson, the moral and religious implications of brother against brother, of Americans spilling the blood of Americans. And so troubled by this was he that on November 13 of 1861 he wrote a letter to the United States Treasury Secretary. And this preacher's letter said, quote, "One fact touching our currency has hitherto been seriously overlooked. I mean the recognition of Almighty God in some form in our coins. What if our republic were now shattered beyond reconstruction? Historians of succeeding centuries might reason that our past was that of a heathen nation. From my heart," he said, "I have felt our national shame in disowning God as not the least of our national disasters." End quote. Well, upon reading the Reverend Watkinson's words, our Treasury Secretary was inspired to write the Director of the Mint. He said, "No nation can be strong except in the strength of God, or safe except in His defense. The trust of our people in God should be declared on our nation's coins." He said, "You will cause a device to be prepared without unnecessary delay with a motto expressing in the fewest and tersest words possible this national recognition." It took more than 2 years for the Director of the Mint to act on the request. But in December of 1863, he and the Treasury Secretary put their heads together and came up with a motto which you know, "In God We Trust." Congress approved it almost immediately for the 1-cent and 2-cent pieces, a year later for gold and silver coins. Within 8 years more, the inscription, "In God We Trust," was left entirely to the discretion of the Treasury Secretary. Now remember, the motto was not yet mandatory. So when in 1907 it was excluded in favor of some new designs, there was a great public outcry, and Congress ordered it restored to the coins on which it had previously appeared. It was not until July 11 of 1955 that "In God We Trust" became an imperative facet on all U.S. coins. Now, the next time you pick up a penny, you read the 4-word halo over Lincoln's head. I hope you'll remember where it all began, with a solitary letter of protest written by a Baptist preacher 128 years ago. Those obsolete words, which were replaced by "In God We Trust," are remarkably relevant to contemporary sentiment. You see, those words would be with us still had the Reverend Watkinson not expressed his concern for future generations, had he not objected to the words then in use. What he did was to replace with 4 words, "In God We Trust," the 3 words which had been used up until then. The 3 words we used to use were, "Mind your business." And now you know the rest of the story.